Okay, we're going to do a few problems for area of the parallelogram. First of all, the formula is the area of the parallelogram equals the base times the height. The base can be any side of the parallelogram. The height has to be drawn perpendicular to that side. Most people like to have the base as the segment at the bottom, but that's just a relative term. So if the segment at the bottom is 10 because the segment at the top is 10, that's going to be the value for B, and the height has to be drawn perpendicular from any point, point A in this case, perpendicular to the side you're considering to be the base. So the 5 in this case is the height. So the formula states area equals the base times the height, and just like every problem, I suggest you always write down the formula that you're going to be using. So the area equals 10 times 5, which equals 50. Next problem. Again, the area of a parallelogram equals base times height. The base is equal to 12 times the height, which is equal to 7. So again, area of 84. Next problem. Now what I want you to do each time is to try the problem before you see it being completed, and then check your solution. In this case, we have to find the height, length of the red segment, based on the Pythagorean theorem for the triangle on the left, the right triangle over here. So completing that, if we call the height x for now, we have 8 squared plus x squared equals 17 squared. So 64 plus x squared equals 289. Subtract 64 from each side of the equation gives you x squared equals 225. Take the square root of each side of the equation, we get x equals the square root of 225, which is 15. But that's not the answer to the question. You still have to find the area. So now the area equals the base times the height. The base is 25, the height is 15, 25 times 15, the area, the answer to the question, 375. Next question. In this case, we don't know the base and we don't know the height. But we have a right triangle over on the left-hand side of the diagram. And it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle, saying this is a 90-degree angle, a 60-degree angle. The missing angle at the top has to be 30 degrees. So we can find the length of the shorter leg, because the length of the shorter leg times 2 gives you the hypotenuse, which is 8. So we divide 8 by 2 and we get 4 for the length of segment DE. Segment AE, the longer leg, is equal to that number, 4 times the square root of 3. So now we can plug in the values into the formula. The base is the 4 plus 12, which is 16, times the height, which is 4 times square root of 3, which gives you 64 times square root of 3 for an answer. Next question. Sometimes the area is going to be given to you, but you still start by writing down the same formula. The area equals base times height. 90 equals 15 times x. So we can solve for x, which is the height, by dividing each side of the equation by 15. And we have x equals 6. Next question. Again, we have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. The length of the shorter leg is now equal to 3. So we want to find the longer leg, which is that number times the square root of 3. Now that we have those two values, the base and the height, we write down the formula. The base is the 7 times square root of 3, which was given, times the height, which is 3 times square root of 3. And I like to rearrange the terms, so it's 7 times 3 times square root of 3 times square root of 3. 7 times 3 is equal to 21. Square root of 3 times square root of 3, yes, it equals the square root of 9, but just by definition it equals 3. Square root of 9 equals 3. So we get an area of 63. Another problem. Sometimes the height, which is drawn from a point on one side perpendicular to the opposite side, but in this case it's perpendicular to the line containing the opposite side being segment DC, which is going to be the base. So therefore the formula area equals base times height. The base is equal to 12. The height is the 20, even though it's not inside the parallelogram. So 12 times 20, 240 is the area of that parallelogram. And we have one more problem for today. On the left we now have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. 45, 45, 90 triangle theorem states that a leg, either of the two legs, and they're equal, times the square root of 2 gives you the hypotenuse. So if we reverse the steps, the hypotenuse divided by the square root of 2 gives you the length of each of the two legs. In this case, the square root of 2's cancel, and we have the height in particular is equal to 14. And the same for the other segment down here, but we don't really care about that segment. The area of the parallelogram is the base times the height. The base is equal to 20. The segment at the top is the same as the segment at the bottom, times the height, which is 14. 20 times 14, 280 is the area of the parallelogram. Hope all of this helps you study for the quiz coming up on parallelograms. Have a good day.